Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Yellow Kings podcast. It's your boy, Toyun Kim, also known as Your Average Tech Bro on the internet. I'm also here with Andrew Meng, known as Meng Meng Duck, Meng Meng Socials, a lot of different things. In today's podcast, we're going to be discussing our relationship with money. Our relationship with money as somebody in our mid-20s, in our early professional career, as an Asian American as well, first-generation immigrant. Lots of different angles to tackle this from, so super excited for this topic. But before we get into the pod, we have a very, very special announcement to make.
Guys, we did it. We got our first sponsor ever for Yellow Kings podcast, at least.
I wouldn't say sponsored because we weren't paid at all, but we got our first company to acknowledge us, basically.
Partnership.
And give us some free gear. Yeah.
Exactly. We got our first partnership, guys. So very quick shout out to our boys and girls over at Sanzo. We love your seltzer. This is delicious. And we reached out to them. We're like, hey, we are two Asian Americans running a podcast. We understand you guys are also an Asian American founded company. Love to partner up, just meet more people in our community. They said yes. So big shout out to Ashley for sending these over to us, and Thomas. I think we got to do the honors.
Okay.
You ready for this?
All right. Also, I got to say, before we get into this, I first heard about Sanzo back in like 2020, 2021. And I've loved the brand since then. So this is not a random brand. It's a brand that I've actually really enjoyed. And I've drank this many, many times over the years. So I'm super, super pumped to be able to just have this little moment with Sanzo. So once again, shout out to the folks at Sanzo. Y'all are the real ones.
Exactly. All right, guys. We're going to shotgun a Sanzo.
Okay. I don't know if I'll shotgun, but I don't want to like cut it open on the side. I'll chug it though. I'll chug it.
Have you never shotgun?
No, I have. I just like... I don't want to get a mess. I don't want to make a mess in my office right now.
You have carpet floor or something?
No, it's hardwood, but still, I don't want to get a mess all over my seat. I will chug it. I'll chug it, but I'll just from the top. I won't.
From the top. Oh, come on, man.
Shut up, frat god. Shut up, frat god.
Dude, okay. I will shotgun the Sanzo. How about that?
All right.
All right. How the fuck do you? I actually haven't shotgun in like.
See, you need one of those things to like.
No, I have a key. I have a key.
Okay.
So I just here. Let me put my mic away.
This really dates us right now that we're having struggles shotgunning.
Okay, so this spout needs to be on opposite side of where I poked the hole, right? So
so you poke the hole on the lower right hand side, and then as you start drinking it, you crack it open and then pour it.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck, dude.
You're gonna make a mess, and I'm gonna be like, "This is why I didn't shotgun." I knew it.
Fuck. Does it have sugar in it?
A little bit, maybe. All right. Well, cheers.
Hey. Sometimes as a guy, you can't control where it goes, right? Sometimes.
I have no comment. I don't endorse this behavior.
It falls out. All right, guys. All right.
Cheers.
Big shout to Sanzo. Wait, hold on. I can't even get this open. Because I have no nails. I bite my fucking nails, dude.
Oh, you're a nail biter?
I'm so anxious, I'll tell you. All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Woo!
Oh, that's so good. God, I love Sanzo.
Honestly,
so good.
Not gonna lie. The yuzu and the fucking... I don't even know the calamansi.
Yeah.
What is that? Lime or something?
I don't know.
Oh my god, dude! I like made a mess all over my computer.
Dude, you just proved my point. Why I didn't do that.
Before we get into topic, since we're here, let's ask this question: Who's your dream sponsor for this podcast, Thomas?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think a dream sponsor would definitely be it has to be an AAPI brand for me personally.
Yeah.
Maybe like H Mart. That'd be so random. Like H Mart would be pretty cool. Shout out to my Korean roots. Honestly, if Samsung were to sponsor a pod, that'd be so sick. I'll admit it. I'm an iPhone user right now, but I'm open to switch for the motherland. I've been eyeing the Samsung folding phone. Kind of nice, low key. I kind of want one pretty badly, so I'll put Samsung as one of my dream sponsors or H Mart. Those are my top two.
How about Hyundai?
Yo, if they Hyundai people out there Hyundai. I'm in the market for a car potentially, and I've been wanting to get an electric car. I love the Ionic series, the Ionic 5, the Ionic 6. If you want to sponsor the pod and want to send over an electric car, be my guest. You know where to find our email. So down for Hyundai.
Yeah. Honestly, I can't think about who my dream sponsor would be right now. I think like instead of a dream sponsor, I definitely have like dream guest that I want to bring onto the podcast. That's 100%. Any API founded company will love on this on this podcast. LinkedIn wants to sponsor us. I think we are honestly a great fit for LinkedIn. So feel free to come through if you want to sponsor us LinkedIn as well. And yeah, I guess if you want to mention Samsung, then I got to mention my boys over at TSMC. You know,
That'd be pretty cool.
I gotta get my boys over at TSMC sponsor us. But I think my dream guest on this podcast, for sure, hands down, David So. If I can get David So on this podcast, shout out to Secret Society, that'll be like a dream come true. Who will be your dream guest?
My dream guest. I think there are a couple people that I'd be really, really excited for. I think I'm just going to list off a couple. So one of them would be, so he's not East Asian, but he's South Asian. Honestly, the host of My First Million pod, Sean Puri, he's Indian, I believe. But I love the My First Million podcast, one of my favorite podcasts out there. I'd be so pumped to have him on. And then in terms of other guests, I'd really be down to have like some of the other OG YouTubers like Kev Jumba, Ryan Higa. They'd be super cool. I think in the more tech space, Joma Tech as well. If Joma were to be on the pod, would be super cool.
Tech
then I wouldn't want him on the pod personally.
Just kidding.
And then in terms of like someone in the more tech space, more like entrepreneurial space, I think Tony Xu would be cool. Super cool. Founder of DoorDash, that'd be awesome. And actually, Justin Khan as a guest would be pretty unreal.
Yes. Yep. Agreed. Justin Khan, definitely. 100%. I love that guy.
Same. I really like him. All right. So on the topic of the more entrepreneurial side of things, more capitalistic money side of things, the topic I wanted to discuss, like we mentioned earlier, was the topic of money and our relationship with money. And I'm actually really curious to hear what, Andrew, your relationship is with money. You know, are you somebody that you are a big saver? Are you a big spender? Do you have a problem with spending? Do you have a problem with saving? Just what is your entire dynamic with money? I guess maybe talk a little bit about your growing up, your household situation with money to provide a little bit of context. And then how has that carried on over into your actual personal life once you started becoming old enough to to get a job, make real money on your own?
Yeah. I think like money growing up for me, it was, so number one, if I was to rank myself in terms of like how I grew up, I'll say like middle class, upper middle class, definitely around there. Like money was never an issue in my family in terms of like providing food on the table. Like, both my parents work like very nice white collar jobs. My dad's a professor. My mom works in the government right now. So I never had to grow up worrying that like, okay, when there's going to be the next meal on my table, am I going to be able to afford college? Who's going to pay for my college? It was all very set up like, I'm going to go to school, I'm going to go to college, and then my parents are going to pay for my college, and afterwards I'll have no debt and I'll go find a job. So growing up, like I didn't really struggle that much with money, so I never really like valued it in like a crazy sense, which is kind of, I think, has led me to eventually do what I do right now, in which like I'm willing to be like, I'm willing to like sacrifice short-term gains of like monetary compensation for like longer-term gains of like either what I want to do or making even more money, right? Because for me, if you guys don't know, so after college, I actually worked in investment banking, which is a pretty high-paying career. But then after like a year and a half, I decided that I want to pivot into something else, something more entrepreneurial, something more in the creator economy, creating content. And I think a big driving factor of that has been because I grew up in a very stable family environment that I knew that even if I ran out of money, I can always move back home with my parents. And I'm not just, I'm trying to like be very honest right now and just be like very self-aware. It's like, I'm super privileged to be able to say that, to be like, money isn't a huge issue in my family. My only worry with money at this moment is mostly ego thing. It's like, how much money I make, not necessarily like, am I going to survive? Because I know if shit hits the wall right now, all my entrepreneurship endeavors doesn't go well, I know I can go get a job that will probably pay me decently well anyways, because I'm highly educated, blessedly highly educated, and I've already have like good experience on a resume as well. So yeah, I'll say like, it just briefly, that's like my dynamic with money throughout like my upbringing. How about yourself? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for me, I think pretty similarly as well. I was also super privileged and lucky to be raised in a family, in a household where money was not a big issue. Both my parents are also pretty highly educated. They are both in the medical field, so never had to worry about food on the table or anything like that. And then post-grad after college, and even now, so I've been a software engineer since graduating college in 2019, so I've been around for a couple of years. Definitely make a good amount of money, and I think for a while, there was a moment of my life, there's a phase in my life where money was a bit of an ego thing as well. But I think I've grown out of that a little bit more, because I think originally when I wanted to go out and try to do my own thing, which I'm like still struggling doing, like building my own company and stuff like that, building my own software company, the number one motivating factor in the beginning was definitely money, wanting to make a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I don't want to make a lot of money, but I think right now my biggest motivating factor is just having my own freedom, like not being able to do whatever I want, whenever I want to, and not having to like clock in, have a manager, report to a manager and stuff like that. Not saying and also for the record, I actually really like my team. I have a great job, like for full disclosure, but it's more so just the idea of it for me is just like, I just want to do my own thing as well. So it's shifted a little bit, but definitely, I guess even now, like where I make more money than I can spend, I still find myself being very frugal, very stingy about certain things. Like even nowadays when like a friend would want to go out to eat, or some days I'm like super lazy, I'm like, oh, should I just DoorDash some food? Or should I I was gonna say Uber Eats. No, we'll just go to DoorDash. Oh, should I just DoorDash some food today or something? I guilt myself being like, that's so extra, dude. Like, why would you spend that extra money? Even though theoretically on paper, it's not a big deal if I spend that money. Like, it's not gonna be a make or break thing that'll ruin me financially. But I still find myself stressing over like, oh man, should I get that guac for like $2 extra? Like, should I pay that $3 extra to get beef in my pad thai rather than chicken? It's like these super small things that I still hold on to as if I had this scarcity mindset, even though I never really grew up in a very scarce household or environment. And I wonder if that's kind of like a first generation immigrant mentality that we have. I guess, what are your spending habits like typically?
Yeah, I actually have a very good perspective on that, because I'm the same way too, in which like I didn't grow up poor necessarily speaking, but I think because our parents grew up very poor, that they passed on those spending habits to me. So you and I are both like second generation, right?
I think,
are you second?
I think it depends on people's definitions. I consider myself first generation because my parents were both born and raised in Korea, and I was the first one in my family to be born and raised in America. That's why I call myself first generation.
Let's just say second generation by definition right now means that like you were born and raised in America with American values, American standards, and your parents work. Like, I mean, I think the definition of first generation means like you moved to America. Like you were born in a foreign country and then you moved to America. I think that's like the former, like the actual definition of it. But anyways, we don't want to get into details of that. But culturally, you and I are both second generation, right? We grew up pretty well off. Our parents both work. Both our parents work decently well jobs. They don't work blue collar jobs. Both our parents work white collar jobs. But our parents were first generations. They grew up very poor. They moved to the States. So my mom moved to America.
Okay. English is your second language, bro.
English is my second language, okay? Oh. So my mom moved to America with her family, like 5 daughters and one son. And they were dead broke when they came here. Like they had to worry about food on the table every day because like my grandpa, he worked as a contractor. He was working like these very shitty blue collar jobs left and right. Obviously my grandma doesn't work. I think she worked with him for a little bit as well. But basically like a lot of kids, not a lot of income. So my mom grew up with very, very poor mentality, right? And I think a lot of that has passed on to me in a way. And because, for a quick example, my mom, she doesn't do this anymore, but she used to go to LA Fitness, and then she will get paper towels for LA Fitness, wipe her hands with it, and then she'll like, wrap it up, put it in a square, put it in our pocket to bring it home, and she'll reuse those paper towels from LA Fitness. Dang. This is recent. This is like 2 years ago. Until I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, mom? Like, this is kind of disgusting. But it's like, but what I end up realizing is that like we're all just watered down versions of our parents. Like whatever bad habits they had, we kind of adapt some of it. So I also have very cheap habits as well. I don't like wasting too much paper towels, but I'm more friendly. I'm more generous with like my use of paper towels in a way, right? But I also don't like spending money when I have to. I also like you go Chipotle. I mean, for example, I don't like getting guac at Chipotle, but it'll be like, do I really have to get this $2 guac? Like, is that really necessary? So I think a lot of it just is passed down from our parents, and I think it's really funny. It's like we're all just watered down version of our parents, because basically my mom will sometimes complain about her mom, aka my grandmother, about like her cheap habits. I'm just like, Mom, you're just the same. You're just like a less version of her, and I'm just a lesser version of you. End of the day.
I guess it's funny. I think about this a lot. Where I remember in college when I didn't make any money, and I would go out to like a restaurant or something with my friends. I feel like one of the big moments for me where I like leveled up in wealth in terms of my earning potential was when I realized when my friends started going out to eat, we would start ordering appetizers. Because back in college when we didn't make enough money, we were like, appetizers? No, we just need an entree. We're good. But then once I started making money, I was like, that like a big sign for me that, I actually make money was that I started purchasing appetizers at restaurants when I'm out with my friends. We were all like, wow, boys, we made it. This is a big day for us,
Bro, we're getting spring rolls today, dude. All right, what the fuck you talking? You guys want to get some egg rolls today? Some spring rolls at the pho restaurant?
Oh my god! I literally had pho last night for dinner, so that's so funny that you say that.
Did you get appetizer?
I did get a spring roll. Yeah, I got a spring roll because I
could. Why would you not? Why would you not? $7 for 2 spring rolls? Fuck it, dude. Let's fucking run it.
On that note, out of curiosity, what is your monthly burn like? What is your monthly expenditure for just your day-to-day life typically?
I don't know the exact number, but I think I'm pretty low. So right now it's pretty high because I'm like living in a different city. So just like an Airbnb, I booked for like a couple $1,000s for this month. But generally, like I've been living at home, and the only thing I ever spend money on is food, and alcohol sometimes. But yeah, it's just food. I love spending on food.
Let's say before you quit your job, before you moved back in with your parents, and let's say you were like living in your own place and you had to kind of figure everything out on your own, what would you say if you could ballpark what your typical monthly expenses were like?
Oh, like with rent and everything?
Yeah, with rent and everything.
Dude, I was spending money like a madman. All right,
really?
let's talk about this. When I was working in investment banking, I have very toxic spending habits. I didn't spend that much, but the things I did spend money on, I spend a lot on. So I'm talking about one particular things. So number one, I'll say roughly 3 to 4K a month, easily. So I pay 2.2 for rent. You talk about food, everything else, maybe like another $800 to another $1,000. But I spend a copious amount of money on clubs and alcohol when I worked in investment banking. Like there was a period where like me and my buddies will get like tables like almost every weekend at Temple or Folsom.
Oh my god.
Yeah. You ever been there, by the way? Temple or Folsom? 1015 Folsom, SF?
Yeah, I've been at 1015 Folsom before.
Yeah, I like me and my buddies, we used to get tables, and it'll be like easily like $800 in a night, easily. Yeah, and it's like you just graduate from college. I mean, I was doing this in my internships as well, but you graduate from college, you're just like, I'm making money. Like I work in investment banking. Like I'm kind of miserable too, so I'm gonna spend a fuck ton of money every single weekend, get fucking plastered like crazy, go to an after party until like 6 a.m. and then go back to work the next day at 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning. But I used to spend a copious amount of money on like alcohol and tables at clubs. I don't do that anymore because mostly because COVID happened. So like that just kind of slowed down. And now I'm older. Like I just don't go out as much anymore. But
So
I
let me
used to burn a lot.
let me flip that question a little bit then. So
Yeah.
would you say, I mean, I also think that, now that you don't work in investment banking, you don't have like as steady of an income. I'm sure that helps contribute to decreasing your spending habits and like scaling it back a bit. But let's say that you were making right now the same amount that you did in investment banking, or even we'll toss it out there, double what you did in investment banking. Do you think that you would go back to those same spending habits on like going out and clubbing, or do you think your behavior has more permanently changed to not do that?
Okay, maybe like instead of 3 times a month, maybe like once a month. I'm just kidding. I mean, look, end of the day, to be completely honest, I'm not here to be like, guys, don't go out and waste your money at clubs, all right? Like be a real man. It's like, no, I like having a good time. I like having a good time. I still like having a good time. But definitely not as much anymore, just because number one, I think it's a waste of money. And number two, I just don't go out as much anymore. It's not as fun anymore. And just like, yeah, I guess I just got older, but I do enjoy the occasional, like every 3 months, I go out with my boys and stuff, and then we get a table and have a lot of fun. Because at this age too, I almost hate going to clubs if we don't get a table. Because it's like, it's crowded, you're standing there in the middle of everyone, you're trying to like talk to people, everyone's like fucking 21 years old. Well, if you go, all right, this is like what a drug addict sounds like. Okay, you start rationalizing your decision why you get a table. Okay, but this is a thought process of how I used to think about it and kind of how I think about it now too. But it actually kind of makes sense. So you get a table, right? Let's say a table is $800. You get 5 to 6 or 8 guys at a table. Everyone splits it. It's like $100 per person, right? You're probably going to spend $50 that night on drinks anyways. So what's the hurt of spending another $50 to get a table? Makes sense in practice, right? In theory. But in practice, what actually happens is you guys get a table, you guys spend $800, you still end up buying like 3 drinks at the bar for some fucking reason. So you spend another like $60 at the bar. And then at 1 a.m., one of your buddies is so drunk that he orders another bottle for a table and then adds another $500 to the table. So at the end of the night, you end up spending $200 at the club. But you get to say you had a great time. That's what you get out of it. But yeah, the table argument always works well in theory, but never works in practice. You always end up spending more getting a table than you would just going in. GA.
For sure. That's funny, just because I've never been a big clubbing guy. I think when I think about what I would like to do going out, I think I really enjoy Korean drinking culture. Maybe it's Asian drinking culture as well. I'm just more familiar.
I like Korean drinking culture too.
Yeah, it's like I'm not the big like go out to a club and like super loud music destroying my ears. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I much rather just like go to a pocha, go to a restaurant, order hella food, order hella drinks, and just like hang out and chat with like your crew. That is I love those nights out particularly. But I get it. I get the appeal of clubs and like and definitely it's a huge money suck because once you get a little bit of alcohol in you, it's steady downhill spiral to just spending more and more,
Yeah, your inhibitions go down. I will say though, I do enjoy the Korean style of like going out and drinking with buddies now more than like the early 20s style of going clubbing. Because like you're sitting down, there's food, there's drinks. Granted, you're paying like $10, $15 per soju bottle, complete fucking ripoff ever, unless you kind of like, take the shot with the waiter and stuff. And it's so funny. Me and my buddies, none of us are Korean, but we try to pull the Korean bullshit, which like we get the waiters to take shot of us, just so they'll like us. And expecting a free bottle, like motherfuckers never give us a free bottle anyways, because we're not Korean, dude. We can't speak Korean. But we get the culture, man. Take a shot of us, bro.
Yeah, that's so true. Because you already know your boy. Every now and then when I go out, like I'll try to chum it up with the waiter, try to finesse like maybe not a free bottle of soju, maybe like a free little like free anju, free like finger food or something like that. I try my best. Actually, out of curiosity, what's Taiwanese drinking culture? Is there one?
I think it's like very similar to like Korean drinking culture. So you mean like Taiwanese, like back in Taiwan stuff?
Yeah. Or Chinese too.
Either or. Yeah, I think it's very similar to Korean drinking culture. Like you get the boys around, you're eating like barbecue, Chinese barbecue, and you're drinking beer and alcohol and stuff. Yeah, very
Yeah.
similar. It's just like I think it's like the culture in America, like Korean people kind of dominate that like that idea of like drinking while eating culture.
Of being like
Yeah.
alcoholics, you know.
Yeah, wasn't there a stat like 40% Koreans are alcoholics or something?
I'm not surprised. Yeah, I
crazy,
think
like-
Korean drinking culture is like it's so intense. All right, so
Yeah.
to wrap up the pod, we're almost at the end. I want to ask you one question, two questions actually. Number one, what is something that you bought that you think was so unworth it that you feel like was one of the biggest waste of money that you bought? And then on the flip side, what is the best purchase you made under $100? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me rephrase it. And then on the flip
Okay.
side, what's the best purchase that you have made that was sub $100 that has significantly improved your quality of life?
Oh man. Oh, let me ask you this. What's yours?
This couch right here. I don't even want to give it any love. I hate this couch because it was like a $600 couch. I was like, oh, it looks pretty good. Oh my god. The thing is, it looks like a couch, but actually underneath it all, it's actually a couch-shaped bean bag. Like there's those like sand beads inside of it, so it doesn't keep its shape. I sit down on it. I'm a big dude, or I'm like a medium-sized dude. I'm kind of stocky. I'm 5'10". I'm like 175, 180 pounds. And when I sit on it, the couch sags because it's made of like beanbag material, and it just like spills out on the ground, and I end up slipping off the couch. It is awful. I actually have it flipped around so that the part that spills hits the wall right there, so that it can keep its shape a little bit more. But this was probably the one of the worst purchase that I made, and it was like $600. I absolutely hate this couch so much, but it's just there because I don't know. But I hate that couch. And then
I mean that sounds pretty comfortable to me. I don't know.
no, it's trust me,
It's
you'll
not.
get it. You end up slipping off. Like it's so annoying.
So the worst purchase I ever made was actually when I was in 8th grade. I wanted an Xbox 360 so badly during that time because everyone had it. Modern Warfare 2 came out. I think Modern Warfare 2 is Xbox 360. Yeah, Modern Warfare 2 is out. Modern Warfare 2 or 3 is out. You know, it's a hype console back when like 2010 and stuff, right? Everyone had Xbox 360. That's before
Yep.
PlayStation took over. I want one so badly. I begged my mom so hard, so many times to buy it for me. She finally caved in and got it for me. I played it maybe like 5 times and never touched it again. I'm just not a console guy. I'm a PC gamer.
You're a
I'm
PC guy?
PC gamer. I'm a PC
Understandable.
guy. But worst purchase, but at the same time, best purchase because it taught me a very important lesson in life, right? Which is like, well, now I know I'm not a console gamer. So ever since then, I've never bought a console in my life. Never. I don't care for it. I know I want to play it. I like Super Smash Brothers. I'll play that if it's around, someone has it. But I just don't buy consoles. I'm just not a console guy. I always play PC games. Worst purchase, but with a lesson attached to it. I guess you could say.
Yeah. Understandable.
Yeah.
Also off topic, but do you think you're gonna buy? Do you want a Steam Deck or nah?
What's a Steam Deck?
Oh, what? It's like a Nintendo Switch, but Steam made it, so you can play Steam games on it.
Oh, nah. I was debating getting a Nintendo Switch for the longest time. Still am to some extent, but I opted to just not get anything. I don't need any other distractions in my life. I have enough with YouTube already, right?
I feel that. I feel that.
If it's just there, like I'm gonna bust it out, play it for like an hour, and it's like, oh fuck, dude, what the hell happened?
I feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Honestly, everything else, the worst purchases I ever made, probably just buying alcohol. I just spent copious amount of money on alcohol over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think my best purchase under $100 that has significantly improved my quality of life. Do I have it on? I don't have it. It's downstairs in the kitchen, but it's the Ember mug.
The one that
Ember
heats
mug.
it up?
Yeah,
He-
I'm a huge coffee drinker. I have been drinking coffee since I don't know junior year of high school. I'm all into it. I'm a little annoying. I'm kind of a snobby coffee drinker. Not like a 10 out of 10 level, but I'm like a 6 out of 10 level. Where I'll still drink bad coffee, but I can tell it's bad. Whereas like the 10 out of 10 people are like, oh, I don't drink non-single origin coffee. You know, it's like okay, relax.
dude.
But the Ember mug, I think when I bought it, it was sub $100 or close to it. But yeah, essentially it is. It's a mug that heats your coffee for you or any warm beverage. It keeps it at a warm temperature, and it is phenomenal because I graze on my coffee. I slowly sip on it because there's nothing more annoying than when you get a cup of coffee in a non-heated mug, and there's like in the beginning it's too hot to drink. It's not fun. You burn your mouth. You become like it's like the colossal titan just bursts open in your mouth and it's just destroyed. Then you have like a 10-minute window when the coffee's at the perfect temperature, but you don't want to drink all of it. You want to like savor the flavor. Then after that 10-minute window, it starts getting cold and you just start not enjoying it, and it's just not a good time. So highly recommend if you're a big hot beverage drinker, get yourself an Ember mug. One of the best purchases that I've made.
I just drink my coffee black, and I'm like, I take it in like 2-3 seconds. My girlfriend hates me for it. She thinks I have the nastiest coffee like ever, but I'm like, coffee for me is a tool. I just drink it for caffeine. I will honestly I used to buy caffeine pills in college. I just pop it and I go on about my day. I really don't care. Like for me, coffee is just like, I drink it, I'm done.
Yeah.
As long as there's caffeine in it, I'm good to go. Other than that, I go to Starbucks. My girlfriend, she's always like, oh yeah, can I get the latte rose, blah, 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 2 pumps of caramel, blah, 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 and don't add this, don't add that. I'm like, what? I go up, I'm like, can I get a cup of coffee?
Actually, this is kind of an off-tangent clip, but can you recite your girlfriend's Starbucks order, and then you need to get your girlfriend to react to your order to see if you got it right?
Oh shit. Okay.
What's your go-to order?
All right. Caramel latte, 2 pumps of sugar.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I don't know if that's true, but from muscle memory, that order just made sense to me. I don't even know why 2 pumps. Like, how many pumps did they put in coffee? It was caramel latte, 1 pump of sugar, 1 pump. It was 1 pump. I think they put 2 pumps, but it usually gets 1 pump.
Final answer.
Final answer. Okay.
All right. Now, after this, we'll get the clip. You have to stitch your girlfriend's reaction to this and see how she.
All right, we'll do it. Before we end it, I want to say one thing. I feel like going from us being yappies and have worked in these like very bougie, high paying jobs, it actually makes entrepreneurship a lot harder for us, because I don't know if you ever think about this, but the constant argument that goes out of my head is like, unless I'm really, really, really enjoying doing what I'm doing in terms of building this business, which is a whole entire conversation in itself, is sometimes so hard to justify working on a business and building a business unless it's making like, honestly, $300K a year, right? Because at a certain point, it's like, why don't you just go back to Amazon, Google, Facebook, cash in that check? And why don't I just go back in private equity or investment banking and make just as much? And honestly, to be honest, work the same hours, be just as stressed out, maybe a little more miserable, a little less mission driven, a little more depressed. But it's like, it's a constant argument that I have in my head. It's like, why, like, unless I really enjoy what I do, how can I keep justifying going forward with this? Do you ever think about it like that?
Totally, yeah. No, I actually saw this one TikTok clip yesterday where it was saying like, it's almost like a dangerous amount where it's, one of the worst outcomes is not the worst outcome for a company or a startup is not it dying out or failing. It's actually when it's stagnating at a very low, like a low-ish level. Like if the company is just stagnating at like 100K to 200K ARR, annual recurring revenue for people that don't know that that phrase. But essentially, if you're making like 200K a year in your company, it's too much money where you just want to completely forget about it and toss it away. But at the same time, it's not enough money to raise another round or even get it acquired by somebody else, which I thought was an interesting perspective. So I think for me, I don't totally agree with that because once again, for me, I think money for a company is not my number one thing I'm working towards. It's just like freedom. Like if I can choose between making 200K at my day job versus making 200K at a company that I own, that a product that I built, I'd rather take the 200K for the product that I built, even if it does come with more stress, just because I get to call the shots. And that's my North Star metric that I'm working towards right now.
Would you take a job, let's say your business pays you 100K right now, would you quit that job that pays you 200K?
Yes.
Yes. All right.
I would. All
right. Awesome.
My North Star metric. It's my North. Maybe not.
I would too.
I think for my minimum expenses right now, I'd say maybe like 120K a year. But I mean, same thing more or less. It's like yes. In the end, I would.
Yeah, yeah. Because you said this before, right? Like you're in entrepreneurship to build. Like you enjoy the process of like building a product and building something. Yeah, yeah. Well, guys. Hope you enjoyed this podcast episode. Let us know what you think about everything we talked about. What is your relationship with money? You know, is it something that you value a lot? Is it something that you grew up not having a lot of? Do you have a lot of it now? What's your perspective on everything? Do you also spend a copious amount of money on something you probably should be spending on and should probably cut out of your life? Let me know that. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed this. And thank you again, Sanzo, for sponsoring this podcast or partnering with us for this podcast episode. And we'll talk to you guys all very soon.